Hey YouTube, molasses cookies are what we're doing today. If you just got here because you're tired of reading all the blogs with ads that pop up so much that you can't read the recipe, we're going to do it today. I'm going to run through really quick best cookie to bring to a party or a picnic. They're great in the fall, they're great at Christmas, they're also great on the 4th of July with everything that's all barbecued, soft, chewy, sugar sprinkled molasses cookies like grandma used to make. I'm going to show you the best recipe that I have found over the years. One year I made this for a party for all of the kids with my daughter's high school, and one of the boys I always remember said, he bit into one and said, "I found my happy place." So let's check it out. Quick run through the ingredients, and I will post the full recipe at the end of the video. I have 1 stick of unsalted butter in the mixer. We've got a cup of flour, a half a cup of water. We're going to pour a cup of molasses into there, flour, and then we've got salt, baking soda, ginger, cloves, nutmeg, and allspice. And this right here is what makes this recipe magical. We're going to go ahead and add the butter to the sugar, and we're going to beat that until it's creamy. Once we've added the molasses, I'm just going to go ahead and scrape down the bowl a little bit, make sure everything's down in with the beater, and then we'll turn the mixer back on low and add the water. And it is going to look weird and curdly like this. This is fine, this is normal. And we can let that sit for a second, and we're going to go ahead and combine all of the dry ingredients and just whisk them together. So we're putting the salt, baking soda, ginger, cloves, nutmeg, and allspice in with the flour, and we're just going to whisk that to combine it. So you've got a nice mix of your dry ingredients, and we're just going to add that right to the wet ingredients. And then this is where you're going to need a little bit of patience, because you're going to cover this dough and put it in the refrigerator to chill for 3 hours before we roll it out and get it in the oven. And I just use a half cup scoop or whatever, and just add it slowly while you're running the mixer. And when you're done, you'll have something that looks like this. And we're going to scrape this off there, and I'm just going to cover this whole bowl with saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator for 3 hours, and we'll be back to show you how to roll it out and get it in the oven. All right, this has been in the fridge for 3 hours, and we're going to uncover it. And what you're going to do is, I do it in sections, but I put it out on a cloth covered floured board. So I'm going to generously sprinkle this board with flour from my handy dandy little sprinkler, and I want it pretty heavy because dough and fabric. And you could probably do this without flour, but it's just an old recipe, and this is what I do. And since I don't want to get my hands all doughy for the purpose of demonstration, I will use gloves, which I would never normally do. I don't use gloves in my own kitchen, but just for you, just for today, we're doing gloves. And I've got, and you can see it's fairly sticky, even after 3 hours. Quite a bit of flour you want to have on this board, or you will end up with a sticky mess. We're going to put quite a bit of flour on top. And we're going to roll this out to 1/4 of an inch thick. And it's really soft, so kind of work fast. And then we're going to cut this into, I use just a 2.5 to 3 inch circle, but 1/4 inch depth is what you want. And I just eyeball it. I don't use a measuring tape or anything special like that. Just want to make sure it's uniform as you roll it out. And I just cut out quickly as many rounds as you can get out of that. And especially anything like this where you're going to be re-rolling dough, you need to know that the more times that you squash it together and rework it and roll it around and roll it out again, the dough is going to get stiffer. So it's best to get as many as you can out of the first rolling, because every time you rework that dough, you're just adding a little extra stiffness. And we're just going to put these right on a cookie sheet like that, and we're going to put as many as will fit on one full-size tray. All right, we got 12 on a full-size cookie sheet. The last thing you're going to do is sprinkle each one fairly generously with sugar on top, and that's what's going to give that lovely grandma-esque crispy little sugar coating after they've baked. And then these are going to go in a preheated 375-degree oven for 10 to 12 minutes. And you don't want them to be brown and crisp. So just until they look like they're starting to be done around the edges, and check the bottoms and make sure that they're, you know, goldenish. But underbaked on these is actually really yummy too. So these are going in the oven, and we'll see you in 10 to 12 minutes. Look how beautiful those look. That is after 11 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and take those out. And I like to just check the bottom of you know, pull one up and just check the bottom. Look how gorgeous those look. And those look like they are perfectly done. Look at those beautiful crackles and a little bit of the sugar. And there you have perfect, soft, chewy molasses cookies, just like Grandma used to make. Oh my goodness. You gotta try these. They are so good. These were perfect at 11 minutes, and they are soft and chewy and just perfectly done inside, and the outside has got just that little bit of firm, little bit of, not crunch, just a little bit of firmness to it. The inside is soft and spicy and perfect. These are definitely going to be your happy place. Try these for your next picnic and you're definitely going to get repeat requests, I promise. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.